I've done an amputation, Ahmed. Amputation for a lower limb without any anesthesia. I've done an amputation in a alive, awake, aware man without any anesthesia. This is insane, Ahmed. This is madness. I don't know how anybody in the world can see these materials coming out in social media or in the traditional media, and they have still saying nothing about what's happening. There's a girl. She's almost 9 years old. Girl. She came to the A&E, and she has a shrapnel all over her face. And she asked me, "Doctor, please come closer." I came closer and I said, "Okay, I'm listening. Tell me." And I thought she wanted to let me know that she missed her father or her mother, or she wanted to let me know that her name or where she's living so I can record her records. But unfortunately, she asked me, "Doctor, am I in heaven?" I said, "No, why are you asking this question?" She said, "My mom told me if we have been attacked, I will go to heaven directly, and the heaven is very calm. There is no noise in heaven, but this place is very noisy, and there's a lot of chaos around me. Is that the heaven?" I thought my mom, she's lying on me. I said, "No, you are not in heaven. You are in the hospital, and your mom is not lying on you. The heaven is very calm. There's no noise. There's no chaos in heaven." Unfortunately, this girl, she passed away after a few hours, and she went to the heaven that her mom told about. It was crazy during that time, during al-Shifa hospital. There's no time even to get aside for 2 minutes and cry. If you get that side, someone will kill, someone will die. If you get these 2 minutes to cry.
So hello and welcome back to Palestine Deep Dive. Today I'm joined by a friend of mine, Mohammed. He's a Palestinian doctor who had worked in Gaza during this genocide and before this genocide. Can we start by telling us why you chose to go back to Gaza?
Right, thank you, Ahmed, for this invitation. And thank you for what you are doing to raise the Palestinian voices and raise what's happening right now in Gaza. Actually, when I trained as a doctor, when I trained in the medical school in Islamic University of Gaza, the plan was to help the Gazian people, to help my people in every single situation, in the peace, in the conflict, in the genocide, and in every single time. This is why we all decided to go back to Gaza to help our people. Even in the clinical work or in the non-clinical work. So when I went back to Gaza, I work in a clinical work, as I work in the emergency medicine doctor in al-Shafa medical complex, and I work non-clinical jobs as I'm working as a lecturer of public health and healthcare management at the Faculty of Medicine, and I work as a project management for health projects as well in Gaza during that time.
Yes, and Maysara was my friend as well, and he had the same experience. He did his master's here in the UK at King's College, and then he returned to Gaza. When we asked him, "Why do you want to go back to Gaza?" he said, because he wanted to help his people in Gaza. He wanted to practice medicine in Gaza, although he was one of the smartest people I know, but he chose to go back to Gaza. He chose not to stay in the UK, although for his career, I know for your career and his career, staying in the UK is much better, but both of you decided to go back to Gaza and treat the wounded. You mentioned that you studied at the Islamic University in Gaza. Tell us about your school in Gaza, the medical school in Gaza. How was it, and what happened to it right now? Does it stay?
Unfortunately, there is no medical school right now. There is no hospital for the medical student to be trained. I was considering the medical school as a home of mine. I've been trained as a medical student for over 6 years at that medical school in many campuses of the Islamic University, in different campuses, in different hospitals, almost like every single hospital in Gaza we have been trained in as a medical student. And when I work as a lecturer, I've been teaching the medical students as well in the medical school. It was a very prestigious medical school. It was the medical school of the Islamic University was working very hard, the staff, the academic staff, and all the staff to raise the medical education in Palestine, and to prepare a well qualified doctors to help their people in Gaza. Unfortunately, now there is no medical school, there is no hospitals for the medical student to be trained, and the medical student now they are volunteering in the hospitals and they are doing the job of consultants, doctors around the world. So when I'm seeing one of my medical students who are volunteering in the hospitals in Gaza, and he's telling me what he has did in the last couple of weeks, and I really amazed by their job. They are doing a great job right now. Consultants around the world, they are not doing what they are doing, and they forget about what's happening right now, and they have only one goal in front of their eyes: helping our people. And this is what we have been teach and what we have been educated, and what I have been learning and teaching my student in the public health and medical ethics course, just to serve our people in Gaza.
And Muhammad, I've noticed that so many of my friends who live with me here in the UK are medical doctors who studied medicine, who were trained in Gaza, and despite all odds, we know that the students, the doctors that come from Gaza, that were trained in Gaza, are one of the best students here, are one of the best doctors here in the UK. Despite all odds, despite all the hardships, the siege, the bombardment, there is still very, very good doctors. Why do you think that's the case?
They are, and they are competing worldwide. They are having a high ranking all over the world. And this is the Palestinian people. This is the Palestinian personalities. This is the Gazian, the people of Gaza personality. They are not accepting the least. They are looking for the highest degrees. They are looking for the highest professionalism and the qualifications. And this is what they are working very hard, and this is how the healthcare system now, which is already broken in Gaza, is still functioning in a very, very, very low resources and infrastructure, not because of the equipment, not because of the infrastructure, it's because of the humans, because of the people who are working and functioning and running this healthcare system in Gaza right now. This is the Gazian people that we used to know and used to work with.
And yet Israel destroyed most of the hospitals in Gaza and destroyed the medical schools at Al-Azhar University and the Islamic University in Gaza. Muhammad, is there any justification for Israel to bomb the medical schools in Gaza, the hospitals, the medical facilities in Gaza? Is there any justification at all for that?
Ahmed, when you started asking the question, you said it's a medical school. It's a hospital. If you ask anyone in the world, from the east to the west, from the north to the south, if there is any right for anyone to throw a stone over a hospital or for a medical school, the answer will be no. It's protected by the international law. It's a hospital, and people all over around the world, if they get scared, if they get injured, if they have to speak to someone, and the only place they can find as a safe place is the hospital. This is what the human thinking. If you get injured, if you want to speak to someone, you only think to head to the nearest hospital to speak to a healthcare professional, because it's supposed to be the safest place. And this is what the Gazan people thought, that the safest place will be the hospitals. And this is what I thought when I was working in al-Shifa hospital, and my family home was destroyed from the very beginning of this genocide, and there is no place to go. I asked my mom and my sister and her sons and daughters to come to the hospital, find a small room for them inside the hospital, to come and shelter in the hospital. But when the hospital was boomed and was attacked, everyone was shouting on me, Muhammad, you brought us to hell, because I thought it's a hospital, so it must be protected, must be safe to bring my family over.
Throughout the past 10 years, when Israel waged many offensives in Gaza, those who lost their homes during these wars would always go to the hospitals. They would seek shelter in the hospitals because the Palestinians thought that hospitals should be and could be the safe haven for Gazans to seek shelter in. And we saw footage of tens of thousands of people sheltering at al-Shifa hospital, at Al-Ahli hospital, at the hospitals in the north. And then Israel did not care about them and then bombed hospitals.
I was treating a patient, and when I asked the patient, where you have been attacked, because he looks very fresh. We didn't used to deal with cases they are very fresh. We used to deal with cases who are stayed under the rubble for 24 hours, for 48 hours. But this injured man looks very, very fresh. And I asked him, where you have been attacked? And he said, I've been attacked in the maternity hospital, in the maternity building. And I just realized, oh, my family, they are staying there in the maternity hospital, in the maternity building. And I just handed over the case to one of my colleagues and rushed to the maternity building to see what happened to my family. I've seen from the outside of the building the smoke coming out from their room. So I just realized all of my family, they were killed or at least critically injured. I just running up the stairs, looking for the people who are coming down the stairs injured or killed, and looking at the faces. And this is my mom or my sister or one of my nieces during the among these casualties. I've opened the door of that room, and they were full of smoke and crying, the kids, and shouting on me, Muhammad, you brought us to hell. And I thought it's a hospital. I've heard from many of the international delegations it's a safe place, and I've studied the international humanitarian law as well, even during my master journey as a global health specialist. Or I've attended many courses in Gaza with the ICRC about international humanitarian law, and I thought many years ago the safest place in Gaza is supposed to be the hospital. This is why I brought them over to the hospital. If there's any signs, I will not do that. I will not risk my family to bring them to the hospital.
How did that make you feel? You were treating a patient, while at the same time your family in the building, and you had to treat the patient while you have a lot of burdens, a lot of responsibility. As a doctor, you have to be very your mind has to be very clear in order to treat patients. At the same time, you and your family are under risk. I want to ask. I want to ask you, how could you manage to do that? How could you manage to treat patients, and not one patient or two patients? We know that during times of war, tens and hundreds of people would come to the hospital every day and will require full attention and clarity of mind. How did you manage to do that?
I want to let you know, Ahmed, about these numbers. I have treated during Al-Ma'madani, during Al-Ahli hospital massacre. I have treated more than 75 person in less than 25 minutes in less than 3 meters squares.
Wait, can you say that again? Say that again.
75 people at least in less than 25 minutes in a square, 3 meters square at least. And if you are working in the medical field, you can realize what I'm saying. 75 in less than 25 minutes and in 3 meters square during that massacre. This is one incident happened during the time where I working there. You asked me about my family and how I was feeling. Many days when there was no connection, I was working for days without know anything about my daughter, my wife, and my family. At the beginning of the genocide, my wife, she's a doctor, and we hugged each other. She went to the pediatric hospital, Al-Nasser hospital, and I went to al-Shifa hospital. And after that, we sent our daughter to her grandma home. We have never seen each other unless I forced to get out from the Shifa hospital and they forced me to go to the south. Then I have the chance to meet them again after 45 days or more. So when you ask me about you have a family and you have to deal with people, there's no time to check with your family. There's no connection even to check with your family. So many of my colleagues who are working in a Shifa hospital, they are very happy when they are working there because they haven't seen any one of their relatives coming to the hospital because they know their relatives, if they have been attacked, they will have the chance to come to a Shifa hospital. But my family, my wife and daughter, if they have been attacked, they will not come to the Shifa hospital. They have been residing in a different place. So if they have been attacked, if they have been injured, I know nothing about them, and I will spend days working in the hospital without knowing anything about them. My daughter, she said her first words, she started to walk her first steps, and I wasn't there. She was watching my videos when I was speaking to the media and speaking to me. She thought that I'm speaking to her. And she's like saying dad, and she thought that I'm speaking to her when I'm speaking to the media, and I'm speaking to the people around the world bleeding to stop this genocide, and she thought that I'm speaking to her and tried to speak to me. Ahmed, it was crazy during that time, during an al-Shifa hospital. There's no time even to get aside for 2 minutes and cry. If you get that side, someone will kill, someone will die if you get these 2 minutes to cry. When I know that they have attacked my teacher home, who's the Dean of Faculty of Medicine, Dr. Omar Farwana, I thought that I will receive Dr. Omar and started to dealing with Dr. Omar and he's alive. Or I thought he might be critically injured. But someone of my colleague who asked me, Muhammad, could you please come to that tent outside the emergency department? We have a lot of body bags. Could you please recognize the body of Dr. Omar Farwana? Can you imagine, Ahmed? And I started to open the body bags. Bag by bag, open the body bag, look at the parts of these bodies, the smashed bodies, and then I recognized, I said, okay, this is Dr. Omar Farwana, and he was killed inside his home. He's the dean of the Faculty of Medicine, and he's a doctor as well. After a few minutes, they asked me to come back again to that tent, and I asked why. They said there's another body bag coming from that building, and I thought it might be one of the neighbors. I opened the body bag. It was Dr. Aya Farwana. She's my colleague. She's a family medicine doctor. She's the daughter of Dr. Omar Farwana, and she has been killed during this attack as well. So every single day, I was responsible to treat casualties, to declare death of my friends and my colleagues. I've worked with Dr. Abdullah Al-Badri. We have been working in the same department for many days, sleeping at the same room, eating from the same meal, drinking the same drink, even if where there was no meals, we are been sharing the same dates to eat. Abdullah Al-Badri, when he left the hospital, after 24 hours, he came as a dead body and he was stayed in the tent. No one recognized Abdullah. He was working with us 24 hours ago. And we know Abdullah very well. We know him. We have been going outside. We have been working in the emergency department for months, for years, and I'm not able to recognize the body of Abdullah until there's another family member came and confirmed this is Abdullah and his brother Hashim Al-Badri, who is another doctor, internal medicine as doctor as well. So Ahmed, can you imagine that? You are receiving your neighbors as a dead bodies. You are receiving your colleagues as dead bodies. You are receiving your friends as a dead bodies, and you know nothing about your family, and you still need to work, to treat the people, to support the people emotionally as well, and the kids who are coming, crying, bleeding, and you don't know the name of these kids. I have many stories with these kids, but I don't know if there's any time to mention the stories of these kids. My heart was broken when I'm dealing with these kids, and I'm seeing my daughter face in every single kid face.
Muhammad, you said that you also need to support people emotionally, but at the same time, you as a doctor, you needed support. You needed emotional support. When you see your colleagues, your friends in body bags killed, and these people should be protected by the international law. These are doctors, these are health workers. And then you have to deal every day with the loss of a friend, a loss of a colleague, a loss of maybe friends or family members. Did that crush you? It would crush any normal human being. It would crush anyone. Did that crush you?
Of course, Ahmed. I thought I am one of the people who have the strong personal solidity. I thought I have a strong personality. But unfortunately, when I started to have these bad dreams, when I know nothing about my family, and I'm just dreaming, I'm receiving the news of my family because there was no connection. I know nothing about them. And I've started to having these dreams. Of course, it crushed me. But there's no time, Ahmed, to cry. There's no time to collapse. There is no time to speak to someone. When I was speaking to one of my colleagues, and he was like a very well-educated, qualified doctor, he's a senior doctor, and he said to me, Muhammad, this will end soon. He said it in a very clear Arabic word. هذا راح يخلص عن قريب وبعد هيك لكل حادث حديث وبنحكي وبنطلع وبتفرغ نفسيتك. Unfortunately, it's not ended so far. It's more than 200 days now, and I can remember this word. Muhammad, this will end very soon. And it doesn't end it. I haven't spoken to my colleagues yet. And I haven't spoken to anyone what I have seen. I haven't got out with my colleagues to share our experience. We're just sitting in the room when we have time to rest, which is a few minutes, just making dua, remembering our families, trying to text our families, trying to get connection to know about our families if they are fine or not.
Muhammad, take me through one of your days during al-Shifa hospital or the Kuwaiti hospital where you also worked. Uh, Describe me vividly the events. How many hours did you work a day? What kind of injuries did you receive? How many patients would you treat during one day? Did you have time to sleep? Did you have time to go out and like meet with your family, spend some time off? Tell me more about your routine day during the war.
I have no chance to meet any of my friends or my family outside of the hospital. We have been working 24-hour shift, and then we have to rest 12 hours. But unfortunately, I have never get the chance to rest for 12 hours because we agreed with our colleagues, if there is any mass casualties during our rest, you should come to the accommodation of the doctor, to the room of the doctor rest, and just knock on the door, ask us to help. And this is happening in every single shift. There is no time was, there is no mass casualties. So during Al-Ahli massacre, I was supposed to be in a rest. I was supposed to be in my 12 hours shift rest. But when it started the casualties to come and the mass casualties started to happen, one of my colleagues came to our room and asked, he was just like scared. He has a yellow face and he's saying, you know what, القيامة قامت. So the final day came. And this is what he came to the room and asking us to get out from the restroom and go to the emergency department again to help. And we started to help, and it's supposed to be our rest time. One time when there's a girl, she's almost 9 years old girl. She came to the A&E and she has a shrapnel all over her face. And she asked me, "Doctor, please come closer." I came closer and I said, "Okay, I'm listening. Tell me." And I thought she wanted to let me know that she missed her father or her mother, or she wanted to let me know that her name or where she's living so I can record her records. But unfortunately, she asked me, "Doctor, am I in heaven?" I said, "No, why are you asking this question?" She said, "My mom told me if we have been attacked, I will go to heaven directly. And the heaven is very calm. There is no noise in heaven. But this place is very noisy and there's a lot of chaos around me. Is that the heaven?" I thought my mom, she's lying on me. I said, "No, you are not in heaven. You are in the hospital and your mom is not lying on you. The heaven is very calm. There's no noise. There's no chaos in heaven." Unfortunately, this girl, she passed away after a few hours, and she went to the heaven that her mom told about, which is that calm place, and there is no chaos and there is no injured people over there. And this is one of the kids that I have treated. I've treated many kids. One of the kids, his bowel was out, and I have a video for that. All of his bowel content, all of his abdominal content was out, and he was awake, he was aware, and he was crying. He's not more than 1.5 years, and we are all amazed how this baby is still alive. He's like, he's crying, he's mourning, and he went to the theater directly, and thanks God he's still alive, and his family recognized him. So when I'm dealing the kids, this is the most thing broken me, because I'm seeing my daughter face in every single baby that I'm treating. When I went to the south, I thought there will be no kids injured. There's no people who will get injured there, because they declare the south is a safe place. So when I moved to the south, I thought I will just stay in the hospital waiting for medical cases, not traumatic cases from the attacks. But unfortunately, in the first day that I've started to work in al-Kuwaiti hospital, I have received a number of amputations that I have never seen in a Shifa hospital. At that day, they targeted a market in Rafah, and I don't know the type of rockets they are used. All of the people, they came with amputation in their lower limbs and upper limbs. And there is a video, and it has been published in the international media as well. I've done an amputation, Ahmed, amputation for a lower limb without any anesthesia. I've done an amputation in a alive, awake, aware man without any anesthesia. This is insane, Ahmed. This is madness. I don't know, this is mad. I don't know how anybody in the world can see these materials coming out in social media or in the traditional media, and they have still saying nothing about what's happening.
You left me speechless, Muhammad. What would you like to tell the world? What is your message to the world, and specifically to doctors, to health workers all around the world?
I'm not sure, Ahmed, if they will listen what we are saying, because I have been speaking like to the international law through media since more than 200 days. Not this genocide only. I have been speaking in a previous genocide, and this genocide is repeated. I have been in the international media in the war in 2021. And everyone seen my videos at that time, and this genocide is repeated again in 2023, 2024. And at the beginning of this genocide, I have a video pleading to the international international law, and to the public all around the world to stop this genocide. And it was like 10 days after the beginning of this genocide, and no one did nothing, and no one say nothing about what's happening right now. So if I want to say something to the people all over around the world, you don't need to be Muslim, you don't need to be Arab to talk about Palestine. You just need to be a human to talk about what's happening there. If you are a human, you must be concerned about what's happening to the people over there. The situation over there, it's not described by any videos or any stories shared by doctors. If I shared all of my diaries and all of my experience while working in al-Shifa hospital or al-Kuwaiti hospital, it will not be efficient to speak hours and hours and hours. But I want the people all around the world to move. Just move, because the humanity now is in a test. And if we lost this test, if we fail this test of humanity, it will not be Gaza only. It will be somewhere else and else and else. It will be more than 35,000 people killed all over another city around the world. Another genocide will happen. And I don't want anything happen to us to happen to any other people all over around the world.
Mohammed, when you were in Gaza, you just mentioned that you were recording videos, you were trying to speak out to the media, and you have talked a lot, you have recorded a lot of videos. I've seen many of your videos from inside the hospitals, and you were screaming to the world. And you just mentioned, like, not so many people were listening, and so many people have failed this humanity test. So many people have failed. Politicians, MPs, doctors, some hospitals here in the UK who refused. The Ministry of Health here in the UK refused to receive any patients from Gaza. So many people are failing this humanity test. But during that time, you continued to speak out. You continued to record your videos. And I want to ask you right now, do you regret speaking out? Do you regret recording these videos because no one was listening and no one is hearing?
All right, Ahmed. So I will answer you with one of a lady. She came to al-Kuwaiti hospital, and she said in front of the camera. And when I heard this lady, I decided not to stop to speak to anyone or to any one of the media. When that lady started to speak to the camera, she said, "We know that we will die. We know that they will kill us, but at least now we will die in front of the eyes of all the world. We will not die in silence. All over the world knows about us and watching us while we are dying." And this is why I decided to speak. Maysara, my friend, he has been killed. And if Maysara is still alive, he will speak to the media. Dr. Mohammed Dabur, he was killed. He's my colleague. And if he's alive, he will speak to media. Abdullah al-Badri, he spoke to media, Dr. Abdullah al-Badri, before he has been killed with his brother. And if he's still alive, he will speak to media. I know people, they are not moving very fast. They are not acting very strongly. But we have obligation to our people to tell the people around the world what's happening to them. We need to tell the people around the world about the suffer of our people in Gaza, and to let them know they are acting not very strongly. Their action is not enough. They need to act more. They need to act more strongly. They need to speak up about what's happening. They need to stop this genocide very immediately, as soon as possible.
Mohammed, some of the doctors and health workers were abducted from al-Shifa hospital and other hospitals. Some of them died while they are in Israeli jails. Can you tell me more about it?
Ahmed, Dr. Adnan al-Borsh, who has been abducted and he has been killed during inside these prisons. I know Dr. Adnan al-Borsh as a student. He was my teacher. I know Adnan al-Borsh as a colleague. I was working in the same hospital. I know Adnan al-Borsh as a doctor who treated my daughter as well. So I know this kind man. I know this very, very honorable man. He's a very well qualified doctor. He has a degree from the prestigious hospitals and universities all over around the world. And this man, if he was in a different place in the world, he will be honored. He will get the highest prizes. He will get the highest qualification. And he will speak in front of millions about his experience and about his qualification. But unfortunately, if you are a healthcare worker in Gaza, you have no choice. You will be killed, abducted, displaced, and waiting for your fate.
Yet Israel rewarded him with killing him. Why would Israel kill doctors? Why would they abduct doctors from the hospital and kill them in custody?
I told you, Ahmed, in the very beginning, people, if they felt unsafe, they will move to the hospital. So they think the hospital is a safe place, and the people inside the hospital, like healthcare workers, doctors, nurses, whatever, they are the kindest people in the world, and they will feel safe and assured over there. But if you kill these healthcare workers, you will take this safety from the people. You will not give these people the feeling of safety, and this is what they want. They want to take out this feeling of safety from the people, so they can do whatever they want. They can force them to displace. They can force them to move to another place. They can ask them to do whatever they want. So if I take the feeling of safety from you, and I get you the feeling that there's no safe place, there's no one will treat you, there's no qualified doctor or nurses to deal with you, so you have no choice. You will flee, you will displace, you will obey my rules and obligations.
Muhammad, Israel bombed the hospitals and the medical schools in Gaza. According to your estimations, how long will it take us Palestinians to revive the medical sector in Gaza, the health sector?
Ahmed, you are from Gaza and you know the Gazan people. If I want to give you an answer about the spiritual of Gazan people and how fast they want this to be rebuilt, I will say in a few days, not a few months. But the world is not allowing us to do that, Ahmed. In every single genocide, in every single conflict happen, and after that, we have the spirit to rebuild everything, and we have the spirit and the willings to redo the infrastructure and the healthcare system in Gaza. But unfortunately, there's no borders opened, there's no infrastructure. There's no materials coming in. There is no doctors coming from outside Gaza to support the healthcare system. So if the situation is still like this, or even before this genocide, it will take years and years and years and years to come back to the point that this genocide didn't happen. But if they opened everything, they allowed the Gazan people to do what they want, and they opened the borders, they allowed all the staff to enter, it will not take days, Ahmed, to rebuild everything and to establish a very strong and prestigious healthcare system, Ahmed, in Gaza. Ahmed, I don't know if the one who's listening to me in that video knows about the healthcare system in Gaza before this genocide. We have the kidney transplantation center. We have a corneal transplantation. We have tertiary hospitals. We have the biggest trauma center in Palestine in the Al-Shifa hospital. We have a very well qualified doctors who have been working in prestigious hospitals around the world. We have a qualified doctor who have been graduated from the top colleges around the world. We have staff who are amazing, and they have degrees, they have certificates from the highest institutions around the world. This is Gaza, Ahmed, and this is the Gazan people. But unfortunately, we don't have the chance to build our healthcare system. We don't have the chance to use our own materials to build our own healthcare system.
Muhammad, I don't have any doubt that the Palestinian people and the Palestinian spirit is very powerful, is very high. The problem is not with the Palestinian people. The problem is not with our capabilities, with our abilities, with our spirit. The problem is that we have always been under severe constrictions. I'm talking about the logistics of the health sector, like these buildings that were destroyed, the hospitals, the equipment that we lost, the staff, even the staff, the doctors that were assassinated, if I may say, assassinated by Israel. I think this is... It's very difficult to have that again. I think al-Shifa hospital, it was constructed, it was built before Israel, before the state of Israel was there, and just a moment they're destroying it, they're turning into ashes. I don't know how. I want to end with this, Muhammad. How are you hopeful? Where does this hope come from? After everything you have seen, you still have like this hope.
So, as I mentioned, Ahmed, the hope is from our colleagues and the Ghazian people and our people. But if we stayed at the same condition, under the same circumstances, under the same restrictions, no logistics coming in, and there's no supplies coming in, people will start to die from a very simple cases as happening now. People now dying from hepatitis A. People now dying from malnutrition. People now dying from silent diseases, which is a very cold cases. If there is no genocide and if there is logistics, they will not die because of these illnesses. One of my colleagues, he's still in the north, he sent me a photo. Instead of using a bottle for the chest tube, which is the bottle they use to drain the chest if there's an injury in the chest, they are using normal saline bottles. No one, imagine, in 2024, in the war, we are using the normal saline bottle instead of the this box for the chest tube. This is mad, Ahmed. We are using materials from like 500 years ago to deal with our casualties. And if this is still to happen, and if this is continuing, people will die from different causes, not only from the attacks or the trauma cases. They will die from malnutrition, they will die from cold cases, and they will die from the infectious disease as is happening right now, even in the south and in the north. But if the people around the world still stayed silent, and I can say the number of 37,000 people who have been killed because of the direct attack will be nothing in front of the numbers of the people who will be died from the indirect attacks.
Dr. Mohammed, what you have just said should shake everyone to their core. What you have described is unbelievable. It's unacceptable. And the world should act. They should act right now. Do you have final words?
So the final word will be the same word that I have said before 200 days. If you didn't act now, 1,000 more people will be killed in the coming 48 hours. If you didn't act now, the innocent people, the 1,000 innocent people that you have the chance to prevent them from being killed in the coming 48 hours, they will be killed if you didn't act. Act and you know how to act. Press and you know how to press. Talk and you know how to talk. Speak up and you know how to speak up. Do whatever you can. Every single around the world, everyone around the world have their own responsibilities. Even you are young, old, male, female, Arab, Muslim, non-Arab, non-Muslim. If you are a human, you have to act.
Muhammad, at the beginning of this war, I said silence is complicity. I don't say that anymore. Now I say, if you do not act, then you are complicit. Muhammad, Dr. Muhammad, thank you very much for joining us today. It was a pleasure. And I really hope that very soon this genocide will be over and we will go back to Gaza, to rebuild Gaza and to revive the health sector. Thank you very much, Muhammad.
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you, Amput. Thank you for what you are doing. Thank you.
As As Israel attempts to erase the Palestinian people under the cover of darkness, targeting journalists and censoring the press, we must rise from the ashes. At Palestine Deep Dive, we are building a multimedia space where our voices, the Palestinian voices, are always front and center. And right now, we just need 3,000 more of you to join our regular supporters and back our work so we can rapidly expand our output. Help us build the future of journalism. Become a supporter at PalestineDeepDive.com/support. This is 100% independent media powered by you.